Hey guys, happy Saturday. I just did a live gathering on the Substack app, and I wanted to make sure I shared it with all y'all on YouTube. And it's about Neptune and Aries. It's about this time we're living in. It's about April 5th. It's about the planets are doing something that has never been experienced before by this generation, to say the least. And I wanted to start Neptune went into Aries. Well, we'll get to that in a second, but I want to start by what happened on the 4th. What happened yesterday, astrologically, cosmologically? One of the really neat aspects that happened yesterday was you had Saturn in the sign of Pisces, sextiling Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And that energy, the Saturnian energy in the sign of Pisces, was reminding us, saying something like, hey, wait, like you need to reflect back on who you are and why you're here and where you've been and where we're headed as a collective. And then we have Uranus in the sign of Taurus. Uranus reminds us that we are the change. We are the high technology we seek. We are the answers. And in the sign of Taurus is reminding us to be here and now, to be grounded into this moment, to keep our feet on the ground. Sextile energy is a flow of energy between these two, between, hey, we've got to remember who we are and why we're here. These are important moments in time. And also, we are the change. We are the high technology. The change is not outside of us, it is within us. And this is the first of three sextiles between Saturn and Uranus. The 4th of April is the first. August 11th this year is the second. That will be in retrograde. And then the first, January 19th, excuse me, next year is going to be the third. And when aspects happen in threes in astrology, it's not uncommon, but it really gives us a chance to work with these energies. This first time is a snapshot for us to get the downloads, to see the lay of the land, to open our eyes and look around and see how the planets are supporting us in these themes, to remember where we've been, to remember who we are, and to embrace that we are the change. Now, when August 11th comes around this year, that's going to be a retrograde sextile. So that's going to be really a time for us to see when the rubber hits the road, how much work have we done? And that will be a very empowering time if we've been in it to win it and doing the work. So that hopefully by the 19th of January, the third time this aspect comes up, we will be in a period of resolution. That being said, Saturn sextiling Uranus, there's another aspect that's tied up here, and that aspect is the trans-Neptunian object Eris. Eris is known as the goddess of discord in astrology and in Greco-Roman myth. Eris is the one goddess of all the gods and goddesses who was not invited to, I forget whether it was a wedding or just some kind of a party or a feast on Mount Olympus. Eris shows up anyway, and she shows up and knocks on the door with a golden apple. And the door opens, and she yells into the party to the fairest and tosses the golden apple into the party of all the gods and goddesses. And the story goes that Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite all get into a squabble about who's the most beautiful, and it results ultimately in the Trojan War. That is why she's known as the goddess of discord, but I offer here that is not discord for discord's sake. That is discord because Eris recognizes that hubris and ego is in the way of truth and equanimity. And she's pointing out, Eris points out when ego gets out of balance. So Eris is sextiling both Saturn and Uranus on the 4th, and these aspects were exact yesterday. They are still very active today as I'm recording this. And, I think this really points to the moment that we're in as a collective. To the extent that anyone outside of us, anything within us, the structures in our world, to the extent that anything is based on ego or oppression or misuse of power, it's all coming to light. It's all coming undone in an Eris fashion. So then that's the background for Neptune moving into Aries. The last time Neptune was in Aries was during the time period was 1862 to 1875. That was coincided precisely with the beginning of the Revolutionary War in America. we know, oh, not the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, excuse me. Pluto is about the Revolutionary War. Neptune is actually highlighting the Civil War in the United States of America. That was about human rights. That was about equal rights for everybody. That was about taking apart the institution of slavery. We know this. That during that time, we also had the Transcontinental Railroad being built. We had the British North America Act come into being. And that was when the British colonies of Canada, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia came into the single dominion of Canada. The beginning of the Canadian Confederation happened during this time. During this time, President Andrew Johnson was also impeached. The Franco-Prussian War took place. That was the conflict between the French Empire and the Kingdom of Prussia that resulted in the unification of Germany and the fall of the French Empire. In the United States, we also had the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments during this time. The 13th abolished slavery. The 14th Amendment granted citizenship and equal protection under the law to everyone who was born on the soil of the US. And the 15th Amendment guaranteed voting rights to all men, regardless of race, color, or previous servitude. We also had during this time the first national park be established. The national parks came into existence during this time. Can't make this stuff up, guys. This is the stuff that we're going through. We also had the Panic of 1873, which is an economic depression, which was caused by a banking firm that led to a global financial crisis. We also had the suffrage movement, the women's suffrage movement begin during this time. So that's the past. That gives us a sense of the background. What I wanted to talk about first before I get into what's happening now is all that background stuff to give us a sense of why this moment in time is so important. Neptune moved into Aries on the 30th of March. Neptune will be in Aries during this first little sneak peek until October 22nd this year. It's going to retrograde back into Pisces from the 22nd of October to the 26th of January next year. And after that, on the 26th of January until 2039, Neptune's going to be in the sign of Aries. Now, all those events that I listed about the last time that was happening, that is not going to be the case. That's going to be the same thing that's happening here. That gives us a sense of some of the themes. But there's been a whole lot of stuff that's happened from that time to now. And I would offer that a lot of that stuff is about the enlightenment of our species and our planet, and that we really have become conscious, evolving beings. So this is not going to be a push repeat. This is going to be a level up for us. And now Neptune, I want to talk a little about its energies. It's known as the planet of illusion and delusion. And, you know, I offer the delusion, excuse me. The delusion is fear. The delusion is doubling down on what's not real out of fear. And the illusion is the illusion of control. And that's the doubling down on what's not real out of the need to control. Neptune's going to be pointing this out. And as it's opening this first chapter for us from now until October, we're getting to see the themes. And Neptune's themes are about the deeper truths of our very existence, which can be difficult to put into words because a lot of our words and a lot of our concepts are based upon what has come before. And Neptune stands at the precipice of what has been and what is possible. So some of the terms that come through are interconnectedness. We are interconnected. Also, we are highly advanced, powerful creators. And Neptune reminds us about the deeper reality of what is true. So fear versus control can be illusion and delusion. The truth I would offer is that we're never stuck, that we're always in theory in control because we're in control of our vibration. Neptune is also the planet of mysticism. It's the planet of spirituality. It's the planet of intuition. And to give us a sense of what Neptune is about, you know, all three outer planets are changing signs this year, as well as Jupiter and Saturn. But when we look this year, next year, excuse me, which is why this is a unprecedented opportunity for evolution of our planet. But when we think about Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto being the planets, the generational planets of subtle energy, Neptune is almost the hardest one to pin down. I offered earlier that Uranus, in my mind, is reminding us that we are the high technology that we seek. There's nothing that we need outside of ourselves. All the answers are within, and we get to begin to explore that we are so much more powerful than we've ever imagined. Pluto is the planet of transformation. If Uranus is the planet of revolution, Uranus is also electric and revolutionary in the reminding us that we are the high technology we seek. Pluto is a planet of transformation. Pluto is very comfortable with death because it's very equally interested in the process of rebirth. Pluto is taking down, Pluto was in Capricorn, shaking out our structures. Pluto is in Aquarius, reminding us of decentralized, circular power structures, of the truth that happens in community, the truth that happens when we gather together as people to have conversations and to support each other. And then we have Neptune, the planet of illusion and delusion. If Uranus is electric, Neptune is magnetic. Magnetic energy can be felt, but it's only felt if you're aware of subtle energetics. And for this reason, Neptune is known as a mystical, intuitive planet. It means it's about seeing beyond the truths of the illusion and delusion in front of our eyes and really feeling into. And Neptune and Aries is going to be encouraging us, as I mentioned in the podcast, to lean into what we know in our core to be true, despite the fact that it might not be precisely in alignment with what we see right now in this moment. So Neptune in the sign of Aries, this is an I am energy. Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars during this time, as I'm recording on the 5th of April, Mars is in its downfall as it's been in the sign of Cancer. It is currently in the sign of Cancer. It's been in sign of Cancer from the 6th of January this year. It will be in the sign of Cancer until the 18th of this month, April. Mars in its downfall is the shadow side of Mars. Those energies are egoic energies. They're the shadow egoic energies, fear mongering, war mongering, intimidation, power over, power grabs. We're in that energy of Mars. And we're going to be there until the 18th of this month, which signals that if March was powerful, April is equally powerful. We're in the shadow of Mars, but we are moving forward. And Mars conjunct Neptune is helpful here because we're beginning to be able, we're coming online, and we are now able, as of April 30th, to see through the illusion and the delusion. And Neptune in Aries is inviting us to take action, to be courageous, to have that drive and that motivation to remember that we're here for a reason. We popped into these bodies in this lifetime for a reason. Now, the other thing that's worth noting is on the 18th of this month, Mars is going to leave the sign of Cancer. Mars is going to go into the sign of Leo. This is going to be more simpatico energy. Mars is more comfortable in Leo. And with Neptune and Aries, that energy is going to continue. This is going to help us to continue to take bold action, but to take heart-centered action, to take strategic action, feline, Leo, lionesque action. Lions don't just run around willy-nilly wasting their energy. They strategically make a plan. They watch their prey, and then they pounce. That's part of the energy of Leo, which is, I believe, simpatico with Aries and the action-oriented aspect. Leo is regal energy, not regal for gilded, fake-looking royalty. Leo is from the heart. The regality is this karmic collective. Leo likes everybody to be happy. Leo is in touch with everybody at the same time. So this is higher goals, higher ground, collective goals. I want to close with the notion that Mars is in Leo from the 18th of this month to the 17th of June. On the 15th of June, we have another big aspect this year, and that's between Saturn and Jupiter. And I'm going to have a whole other thing to say about that as that time approaches. One of the themes that's coming through is the idea that the lid comes off, that the square that's going to come between those two planets is going to somehow just push something to a place that may not have been pushed. So it's going to lift us up beyond linear space and time to have something happen. So I hope this is helpful. I'm going to see y'all again tomorrow when we take a overlook at what's going on in the week to come. So have a happy April 15th. Thank you all for checking out this video, and I look forward to seeing you soon.